What's up, Val? What's up, Daniel?
You ready to fight, Eric? One-on-one, Farhan? Yeah. All right, everybody. Hey, look at North Catna. He knows who's in the house. Welcome, everybody, NorCal Sports Network. And we're joined by, as North Catna says, Cody. What's up, everybody? So Cody's joining us from Washington, right? Up near Seattle?
Yeah.
What's the name of your channel, Cody? You got a channel that does some Giants content, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's the Even Year Dynasty Show.
What is it called again?
The Even Year Dynasty Show.
The Even Year Dynasty Show. Wonder where he gets that name from. Okay.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's just one of the weird baseball oddities that we were on the right side of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. Yes, I saw that today. I thought the same thing, Lou. Just looked at the standings just a little bit ago, and the A's have a better record than the Giants right now. And Lou, he's made it all the way to the Derby. He's out in Lexington. All right, Lou, thanks for joining.
What's up, Lou?
10:20 back there right now, or almost 10:20. Well, everybody, welcome. Welcome as the
I like that, Daniel. Gather around the fire, everyone.
Yeah, as the It Show continues. I left a couple letters out there intentionally, but the It Show is up and rolling in Boston.
Real quick, Cody, your same name for Twitter, correct? Or X?
Yeah.
Even Your Dynasty Show. Give them a follow on X.
Yeah,
make sure you guys go subscribe too.
Yeah, Even Your Dynasty Show. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, check it out. Man, I'll tell you, Chapman went 1 for 4 and raised his average.
Did you see that last at bat? What kind of swing was that? I mean, it was a beautiful play by Wong, the catcher.
Yeah.
Threw a laser, but what kind of swing?
Which one was that? You mean
He was like he tried to check his swing, and it was the most retarded looking swing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Swing and
Don't
bunt.
get me wrong.
Not even a swing. It was like a check swing bunt.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the one that was tipped off his bat and went into the glove. Yeah.
No, not that. Not that. It was a check swing. It dribbled up the third base side.
Oh, not that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The catcher made a hell of a play.
I think I missed that play. I think I stepped out for a second.
Chapman can move too. That was a hell of a play.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And he had a great play at third base. But man, his bat.
Yeah.
I told you all year. I think this is about. I don't think you're gonna get peaks and valleys with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as with a lot of ball players, but you're not going to get a consistent guy where this guy gets, hot and raises his average to 280. It's he's just not that big of a type of guy. He's an unbelievable third baseman. I mean, that play he made today, going into foul territory and throwing it on a couple of hops, perfect, right on target to Wade to get the runner. It was a slow runner, but still great play. I mean, hey, we're not going to sit here and bag on Chapman or Ahmed's defense, but no. I will sit here and tell you that the offense is anemic.
That's the problem with the team right now, right? It's the offense. Come on. That's what it is right now.
Look, they got 5 hits tonight. Okay. Nobody got 2 hits.
I got the
Soler was 0 for 4, but he hit the ball pretty hard a couple times.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit one on a line to center field, but the one before that, the bullet to Devers at third base. Or who was that playing? Was that Devers?
No, that was Soler's. That was Soler's at last at bat.
No, his second to last at bat.
Are you sure? I think it was his last at bat where he scorched it to third.
No, he hit one later to center field on the line.
That was in the beginning. That was his first. I think that was his first.
I think he hit. Check me out, chat. Do you remember it, Cody? Let me look at my play.
The shot he hit the Devers is the one he broke the bat over his knee.
Yeah,
that was the last at bat.
No, that was his
center field was the second at bat. Third base was his third.
Yeah, then he hit another one to center, didn't he?
5th or 6th.
He hit one more to center.
Did he?
Pretty sure.
I could be wrong. I thought it was the last at bat where he broke the bat over his knee.
Yeah, he did it. He did it again to center field. So
Yeah.
he hit 3 balls, 100 plus miles an hour. Nothing.
Just found gloves.
3 balls, 100 plus miles. You know what? He's going to get some Texas leaguers that are going to drop for him. The law of averages will. When Soler hits the ball, man, you don't want to be in front of it. I mean, gosh, he's got massive power. The guy is a big man. He's part of the problem. But look at the rest of the lineup. I mean,
I'm looking at it right here. Wade went 0-4. Chapman went 1-4. Conforto went 0-4.
3, 4, and 5 hitters went 1 for 10.
Yes, can't have that.
And if you want to count Soler as the second guy, which everybody says the second is your best hitter. I don't know why Soler's in the second hole, but
why? And that's let's talk about that from the very beginning when the lineup come out. It's like, why is Soler batting second? Because it's a new month, I guess, huh? Started all over. Reset.
Throwing it at the wall.
Hit the reset button.
So one for 14, 2 for 5, 2 through 5, 1 for 14. But this lineup, I mean, Lee hit the ball pretty good to right field. Almost had a looked like they said it would have been a home run in 27 of the 30. How many? 30 parks. So he hit it pretty good. It's just cold weather held it down. But man, I don't know. It's really, really it's kind of a trend, and I don't know what I haven't heard exactly what you've been saying about this, Cody. But what's been your take early on with the Giants and going into the season? What was your take?
So I'll start with going into the season. They filled their lineup with a bunch of streaky guys, in my opinion. I mean, guys like Chapman and Soler, like, sure, they can get as hot as anybody. I mean, Chapman last season was like the best hitter in baseball for a month, and then he fell off a cliff. And Soler, he's a guy that we've all seen. He can go through these like 10 homer months and get just scorching hot. So, I mean, I'm assuming at some point he'll get going. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I was worried about at the time. I mean, in the offseason, I was constantly calling for like Luis Matos, for instance, to get the right field job, because not just because, I, like many people, want to see a young player get his opportunity, especially one that earns his opportunity, but like they need more bat control in this lineup. They have a bunch of guys that strike out a ton. The approach is terrible on many of the players in the lineup currently. They're sacrificing defense for offense at almost every position, it feels like. Or sorry, offense for defense. I had that reversed, but offense for defense at almost every position. And I just looked at a guy like Luis Matos and I'm like, okay, you could get a guy that's going to strike out 12% of the time. Kind of an idea. Yes, it's a lot to put on a young player, but I think in the future he'd be an ideal number 2 hitter.
That's what we had him. Yeah, exactly. The 2 hole. I said that last night, didn't I, Eric? I would put my line, Eric. Yeah, I said 2 hole. Yep, I agree. Yeah,
and unfortunately, with how the season's progressed so far, and like watching the games in Sacramento, and now as someone who watches every game, every River Cats game, I can tell you, like, a lot of people are going to look at Matos's average and they're going to be like, oh, he's hitting 229 or whatever he's hitting right now. He's had so many bad luck outs where he's getting like robbed in the 5 hole or up the, guys, the third baseman made a diving play on him today. I mean, he's had some bad luck, but it's just, I think with how the season's progressed, unfortunately Ramos is kind of past him as far as who deserves the first look. And, my takeaways right now have been the offense is lifeless, and how long do you continue to beat your head against a wall, hoping these guys heat up and sacrificing the offense for the defense before you just go, you know what, we need to make a move. We need to bring up a guy that's hot in Elliot Ramos and just give him a real opportunity for the first time in his career. Because I mean, I see people tell me that he's gotten an opportunity and I just can't help but laugh because it's comical.
Nope.
No, 82.
76 at bats for Ramos.
Yeah, you go and you look at Baseball Reference and it shows 76 at bats. But look at where those at bats are. 3 here, 3 there, sit back down, comes back up, another 3 into 3. And it's come on, man.
Yeah.
I went and looked at someone a shot.
Yeah, I went and looked at it at one point, and I didn't count the like doubleheader call-ups where he's like the 28th guy or whatever. Right. I don't count those, but I looked at it at one point, and he's gotten 82 plate appearances in 6 call-ups. So he's gotten, and when you average it, it's 13.7 plate appearances per call-up, and he's up 10 to 15 days at a time.
Right.
Exactly.
So okay, you give a guy 13 bats.
Hey, his original, I was there, has had season tickets in 22. Yeah. And he got called up game 2 against Miami, the second home game, and he played the next. It was a 4-game series, I believe. Maybe it was a 3, but he was up for 2 or 3 games because they were facing lefties and they sent him back down. Yeah. Everybody was like, Ramos is here. We've been waiting. The Ramos era has begun. Earlier, I can remember hearing it on the radio. Earlier than we expected, but it's here, and it was a gimmick. It was a gimmick.
It's a joke. I mean, and would I like to see him get every day? Yeah, would I like to see him get an everyday opportunity? Like, absolutely. Like, I think they should give one of these guys an everyday opportunity. I've said Yaz is way better suited for a 4th outfielder role.
Absolutely.
Especially with his health history and his defense. It's like you keep his value when he's a defensive replacement,
right?
More than now.
Same with Ahmed.
Yeah, same with Ahmed, exactly. And but to me, even if you brought Ramos up and just plugged him into Slater's role, maybe give him a few extra at bats because you could give Conforto a day off or whoever. At least you can get a look for 2 or 3 months and get something of a consistent look out of him because he's on his last option. Like, you have to figure it out or you're going to end up in the Joey Bart situation. And
exactly. He's his last option. This is it. And got a question from you from Lou Marston.
Great question.
Why didn't they call up Black to start tonight? Also, is he ready for the show? Another great performance. You've seen him pitch. What do you think?
Yeah. Why didn't they call him up? Because Farhan Zaidi's a coward and doesn't, he's afraid to let players go. And I mean, I think that's the nicest way of putting that.
Yeah.
But as far as what I've seen, he looks really good. I mean, he's not going to, I don't expect him to have a 1 ERA in the major leagues. Obviously it's a different level of competition, but some of the things people have to keep in mind with AAA right now, they're doing the automated balls and strikes certain days. Then they do the challenge system certain days.
Yep.
So they're generally pitching to a tighter zone. He's not walking guys. He lives with a sinker down in the zone, kind of runs in the low 90s, has a sweeper that's been really dominant this year. And he'll also kind of sprinkle in a high fastball. He throws 2 different sliders. He throws like a sweeper and a gyro slider.
I know his slider is pretty nasty. Is it a sweeper then, not a slider?
Yeah, he throws 2 variations of it. So
gotcha. One more loopy and one more sharp. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. And then he has a fastball that he can get up into the mid 90s that you'll see him kind of throw up. And that's his one pitch that he goes up in the zone with, where he'll try and, get
change the line.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you see it with Hicks. He throws a sinker all day long, but he throws
he could throw up that heat
like 7% of the time, and he'll elevate that one. So
right. Hey, D-Shot, thanks for the $5. Appreciate it.
D-Shot.
Lou Marston or Nick says to Lou, it would have taken a 40-man roster spot to bring up Black. Yes. Here we go again. You'd rather have Dalton Jeffries than Mason Black. Unbelievable.
That's what's keeping these guys. I mean, it's all about the options, right?
And it is. And Dalton Jeffries, if he gets put on DFA'd, he'll be right back with the Giants as a non-roster player. Nobody's picking up Dalton Jeffries.
No.
And if you guys want me to go on a 40-man rant here, I can.
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
So 40-man. There are at least 6 players on the current 40-man roster that I would not shed a single tear if they lost. So that's Sean Jelly, David VR, who, he might have value, but somewhere else. He's blocked by too many people here. Dalton Jeffries, Mitch White, I'd have to Austin Slater.
Yep.
There's one more I'm drawing a blank on. Oh, Kaiwei Tang, who would probably be at the bottom of my list, but if you look at what he's done this season, he's given up 23 earned runs between AAA and the majors. He's given up multiple runs in each start and only 15 innings. So if he doesn't get going, at some point you just don't care. You just let him go.
They've actually had stronger 40s in the past under Farhan.
They have. I think their active roster might be better than it was last year. Right now they're performing, not performing, but but their 40-man is just atrocious right now. And I get the argument that there are 5 guys on the 60-day that are going to need to have spots cleared for them, but that's later's problem. Like, you have Cobb, who's had multiple setbacks. You have Tristan Beck, who's going to miss at least until July. You have Robbie Ray, who are we really going to rely on a guy coming off Tommy John? Like, you may or may not get anything out of him.
I've been saying that. Next year, he's going to probably be fantastic.
I hope he comes back and looks good, but we can't rely on him. You can't count on him. Same thing
with Cobb.
Yeah, and exactly. Yeah, and Cobb keeps having setbacks. So all these problems are kind of later's issues. And the other argument I keep hearing about Black is, where's the playing time? Are you going to start his clock, or are you going to do you want to start his service time clock and then start burning options? And it's like, the options, you get 3 years of minor league options. They don't matter unless you don't think he can establish himself in the next 3 years to be a major leaguer, like an everyday, a full-time major leaguer. So if he can't do it in 3 years anyway, like, move on. And also the service time thing, you only accrue a year of service time if you were on the active roster for 172 days. He's not going to reach that this year. So you already have 6 more years beyond this season anyway.
There you go.
And if he's not an everyday major leaguer next season, like if he's not on the active roster all season, the service time, the partial seasons can't combine. So like Matos, they could call him up again this year, and he, like today, he could play the rest of the season. Last year and this year don't end up equaling a season. So he still has 6 seasons after that.
Interesting.
So,
but that just goes to show you then Farhan, the genius, should know this, right? So he's valuing what is he valuing? It's obviously it's not talent. What no. It sounds like he doesn't understand what's going on with the with the 40-man. Yeah. I mean, are you really that invested in those guys that you just named?
Yeah.
To block guys who possibly have better talent. And I cannot wrap my head around that. I can't.
And Mason Black is a Farhan guy. He's doing it to his own guys. Like, we talk about Luciano, Matos, Ramos, and they're like, or Bart. And it's like, they're not Farhan guys. I'm like, this is a Farhan guy.
Schmidt.
Like,
Schmidt's another example.
Schmidt. Yeah.
They're 31 games in, and they're 3 under 500. I think they're going to come home probably 5 games under 500. I think they are leaning toward a 3-7 road trip right now. It's going to be tough for them to win tomorrow. I can tell you that. They could. I'm not saying they won't, but they are giving games away. These games, you don't think they matter, but each game does. When you're in a team that is going to be on the edge of making the playoffs, you're not going to run away with a wild card. Okay, Philadelphia is going to wrap, or Atlanta. Maybe Philly beats out Atlanta the way they're playing, but one of those two is going to be the top wild card. Now you've got 2 and 3, and you've got Chicago and Milwaukee, who are pretty off to decent starts. Cincinnati's going to be in there. The Padres, the Diamondbacks, maybe even the Mets. Heck, Pittsburgh and the Cardinals. You don't know, but you're going to be fighting several teams, and it's going to come down to a game or two. And so these games you're dicking around with, throwing out an opener today, and Dalton Jeffries. I knew that with Dalton Jeffries when they said that Miller was going to start. I said, it's going to be Jeffries to follow, and he'll get shellacked, and he'll be out of there. Yep, exactly. Because they just didn't want Jeffries to get knocked out in the first inning again.
Yeah. Right. That's exactly what it is.
And so they, let's get Miller because we'll have him face Devers.
Duran and Devers.
Yeah.
The 2 lefties right off the top.
Yeah, that was what it was all about. And
he walked the first 2.
He walked
them both.
Yeah, he walked them both. Yeah.
He's lucky he got the double play.
Yeah.
I like Miller. I will say I do like Miller, but he showed about all he is today, where he's like wild and also.
If he's on, he's pretty good. Yeah. If he can have his control, but You know, the lineup, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Cody? Do you think that if they go have a disastrous road trip, 2-8, 3-7,
yeah,
that's, to me, those are disasters. 4-6, you can
100%.
live with it. You can live with it because you're coming home and you can get well and get over 5. But you don't want to be 5,
come
6.
home to Cincinnati and LA. Like it's not even like they have a good, easy home.
You don't want to be 5 or 6 games under.
Yeah,
because you could leave the homestand 5 or 6 under. Because you may. That's gonna be a tough to split that homestand. Okay, that's 6 games. But
3-3, I'd be honestly happy.
Yeah, that's what you're going to hope for. You're going to hope you win 2 or 3 against Cincy and you squeak one out against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But if they were to go 2-8, 3-7, do you foresee any changes? From bringing up guys from the minors?
Yeah, I mean, I could see. I could see a guy like Ramos if he keeps hitting. He's actually the last couple games he's cooled off, but all it takes is another game where he goes 3 for 4 and hits 3 balls over 107 miles an hour like he did the other day. Yeah, I could see him getting it, but the problem is are they going to play him? That's where I don't know.
Yeah, don't bring him up and play him against lefties only because you're just wasting. You don't even know what you have if you don't play Ramos. Ramos needs to play 30. They just gave all these other guys 30 games, right? Pretty much. Yeah. Give Ramos at least a 30-day look and leave him in the lineup and see what he does. He'll get over 100 at bats. Give him the consistency. Tell him, hey, you know what? If you go 0 for 16 in the next 4 games, you're still going to be out there. Don't worry. Go out there and show your stuff. You're our right fielder going forward.
And this is the truth. And Mark Graves, it hits the nail on the head. Nobody's coming up until someone gets hurt. That's what it's coming down to. And it's sad that it's come to that. You mentioned this last year, Dan. Ramos kind of reminds you of Adolis Garcia. Remember, he had to go through a little bit of a few years before he found it. And now he got the playing time, and look what he's doing. I mean, the guy can rake.
If you watch Ramos, okay, I sat and I talked to him for 20 minutes last year in the clubhouse. And
it was a good interview you had with him.
Yeah. I mean, his goals were 20-20, for the year. He's a very sharp guy, very well-spoken, just a really nice guy, but he's got tools. He may not put it together, but he's got the tools. Yeah. Now, the only way you're going to find out if he can put it together is let him play. Let him play. Because everything he's doing in AAA, he can do up here. The rest is mental. It's a mental game. The difference between AAA and the big leagues is pretty much mental. Colton Cowser came up last year, was tearing things up in the minors for the Orioles, comes up, couldn't hit it to save his life. He was, and we talked to people in the Orioles organization, and firsthand knowledge, it got into his head, and it was all mental. This year he comes back. He's just made some mental adjustments. And how do you make the mental adjustments? Through failure. You have to this game will break you down. Okay. Think about it. You fail 70% of the time. If you're successful 30% of the time in your career, you're going to the Hall of Fame. Okay.
Dan, Casey Schmidt said it perfectly on our show when he came in. What did he say about sucking?
He says,
embrace the suck. You have to do it to an extent.
I said that so much last season.
You have to be able to do that, because if you can't do that as a player, it's going to be very hard to get anywhere. I mean, you may have the talent, but it's between the ears. That's where it comes.
I'm going to pull something up. Eric probably knows where I'm going, but because he always seems to read my mind. Put it into private if you think you know where I'm going.
Actually, I don't.
I like Ramos though a lot. Watching him play, I mean, every time he comes up, if you know that if he can just get the barrel on the ball, it's as impressive as anyone in the system. I mean,
right.
It just, the ball he hit off Chapman last season, that he hit off the bricks in right center, that almost got out. I thought that was the most impressive swing I saw the entire season. Took like a 99 or 98 mile an hour fastball up and away, and he put it almost over the right center field wall.
I mean, that guy's he's got power. And he found it because that was the issue that he was having. What was it in 22? The issue was he was hitting too many ground balls. They told him to work on that in 2023. He was hitting liners. He had power. Exit velocity was up. Everyone talks about exit velocity. Well, he had it, but he doesn't get the run. And it just, and what did Farhan say at the end of the press conference, the season ending press conference last year? I said this a million times. I wish I gave Ramos more playing time. So what's the issue now?
It's your control.
I say this all the time too. At the beginning of spring training, you already determined who the outfield was going to be without no competition. So what are you doing?
If there was any competition, Luis Matos would have been the right fielder on opening day.
Right. Because
any competition.
Because he, if you want to talk about competition in spring training, he won the right field position.
Yeah. I think it sends, I'm at the point where
guess the player. Let's see if the chat. Let's see if the chat can guess.
The chat's going to know this. The chat's going to know the player.
Yeah.
The chat will know the player. Don't let me down, chat. I'm sticking up for you guys here.
Come on, guys. Who is that? Somebody's stats.
Part of my problem is I don't know what years these are.
That's why I intentionally hit him.
There's more Katna. There we go. He got it.
Okay, guys. You're looking at Matt Williams right there, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Take a look. We're talking about Ramos. Look at his 87 season, 245 at bats, hit 188, struck out. Where's my strikeouts?
68 times.
Oh, 68. Yeah. Okay. Next year, he only had 156 at bats because he went down 205, only 8 homers, struck out. Was 41. Next year, 202, 292 at bats. You add those 3 years together, that's nearly 700 at bats, and he was hitting below 200.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that 245, 156? That's like what, 401, and then add another 292. So you're looking at 693 at bats. That's a full major league season. But look at year 4 at age 24. Look what he did.
He figured it out.
He figured it out, and he figured it out pretty much for the rest of his career. He had the one bad year at 26 and 92. But look what he did afterwards. I mean, the guy was hitting in the high 200s, had a couple of years in the 300s. You play young people. You play them and you let them develop. You let them get through the hard knocks. I am so sick and tired of people saying, well, Ramos didn't cut it. He's hitting what? 179. And you know what? If you want to take that philosophy, Austin Slater's hitting 103. Jorge Soler's hitting what?
211.
211.
Oh, I know you guys saw my Austin Slater tweet.
Yes.
170 at bats or whatever, and he's hitting
exactly. I saw another interesting stat before we came on the show. Jeff Young. In the last 6 games, the Giants have a total of 13 runs scored. What's that averaging? Just over 2 runs a game. Just a tad over 2 runs a game in the last 6 games.
Yeah.
That's the average.
Yeah.
That's not going to get it done, guys. That's why I'd say it's the lineup. That's the issue. And look, we're in game 31. Yes, I get it. It's the beginning of the season. As when you put in perspective as the totality of a season, right? Yeah, it's 1 month. But yeah, usually you go through maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks where you're kind of not hitting. But then you also have another 2 weeks where you're killing it. They're not doing any of that. Yeah. They're just
team hasn't hit since June.
It's just right at a 500 team. That's what they're doing. You can't get it done averaging 2 runs a game.
Yeah. Marty Lurie, I believe, says, always got to give it about 40 games. I think that's his kind of take.
His first marker.
I'll be right at the end of the road trip.
Yeah, right at the end of the road trip. And you kind of see where they're at. It would not shock me to see them lose 6 or 7 in a row to start this road trip. It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
Just because they're in a funk and they're going against teams that hit the ball. I mean, you watch Boston. They hit the ball. I mean, the Giants hit the ball pretty hard on the nose a few times tonight and did everything to show for it. Soler a couple times and Lee. That's going to happen where you're just going to hit it at right people. But Boston plays – they run guys. Did you see the stolen base tonight? That wasn't a big guy. That wasn't a fleet-footed guy.
No.
That wasn't a base stealer. But
But yet Lee will get on and then they can't even steal a base. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have come out saying, "Oh, this guy's going to be running the bases. Watch out. He's grandson of the wind. We're going to see some excitement." Don't come out and say that.
Anybody that looked at what he did in Korea should not have been saying that, because
I know
he never stole more than 15 bags in Korea.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. And then
he's got good speed, but he's not a base stealer.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. And
he doesn't seem to be confident. He took off tonight where they thought he was stealing, and he on a 3-2 pitch, and he pulled back up.
Yep.
He doesn't get the jump he thinks he should get, and he quits on it. I don't know what you guys feel about the actual division itself as far as the way it's playing out, but I had him pegged fighting for third with San Diego is what I had at the beginning of the year. I actually, when I finally did my predictions, I picked fourth. I think if this lineup has some turnover and change, and I think the Giants still can be a really good team, but they have to have some youth and guys in an infusion of youth with some moxie, some power, some guys that play the game differently than just, I mean, give Yaz credit tonight. He took advantage of an easy RBI with 2 outs, took the bunt, and he laid down a perfect bunt and he drove in a run with it.
Outfield too.
Yeah, I mean, Yaz is
questioning his defense or anything.
Yeah, his defense. He's just not a consistent hitter. What is Yaz hitting now? About 220 as well,
something like that. Los has a great comment before we move off of this. He says, "What's more pathetic is Matt Williams is on the team. You'd think Farhan and Melvin would ask his opinion about Casey being trusted with the job."
Yeah, I will say this, and I've actually heard you guys reference this. I've brought it up on my show in the past, where it's Schmidt's comparison when he got drafted was Matt Chapman. I think I actually heard you guys yesterday talking about this.
Yeah,
and I can tell you guys watching Sacramento play. I mean, because they've been starting him a game or two a week over at short. They'll DH Marco a day. They'll a lot of guys like Luciano, Ramos, Matt, they all get like 1 day off of the 6-game series that they usually do. And so Schmidt will play like 1 or 2 games at short, but when he's at third, he is really good and really fun to watch. And a lot of the plays he makes, the one today that Chapman made where he was backhanded it, kind of running into foul territory. I've seen Schmidt make that play at least 3 or 4 times, and the throws are right on the money, hitting the guy in the chest, just like you see with
Hey, you're exactly right, Cody. You've seen it. You've watched every River Cats game. I haven't seen as many River Cats games as I did last year. I watched a lot more. I got the MILB, package. I just need to turn it on. It's a lot more exciting to watch them than the big club. I can tell you that.
I have made that comment, and I got.
That's funny. We're mirroring each other, and we haven't even hardly met.
Hardly interacted. It's like
so.
I've made that comment several times, and I got crushed from some people because I get it. I get it. People are going to get sensitive about it. It's like, this is their team. I love the Giants. You guys, we're all passionate about this team. We all want them to be fun, but I'm telling you guys, I watch the River Cats. I get it. It's against AAA pitching and AAA talent. So, part of the reason they play like they do is because it is AAA. But you look at them, they're now 19-10, I think, on the season. I just read that, or I heard on one of the broadcasts, they were second in the PCL in stolen bases. They've got 3 or 4 guys that are hitting for a lot of pop. With Ramos is hitting for pop. Schmidt hit his home run, I think, yesterday.
He got 2 RBIs today.
2 more. He's got 30 RBIs on the season.
30 RBIs.
He was hitting like a $108 and barely.
He's got more RBIs than probably the top 4 Giants.
Yeah.
Who are the top 4 Giants RBIs, Eric? Do you got that?
Top 4 Giants?
Conforto's got to be be number 1.
He's got like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Well, we know.
I mean, Ramos has 7 home runs.
No. I know Flores has 10.
Yeah.
Hey, let's look. I'll take it.
But they play defense a lot, or well, at least some of the guys. Watching Sable and Luciano struggles a bit, but guys like Wisely plays really solid defense. The outfielders have some.
I would much rather have the River Cats lineup than the Giants lineup.
They honestly might score more. What we're seeing now, but I mean,
8 days a week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah. I made the joke about Slater, and I'm like, these are writing themselves. Where I'm like, Elliot Ramos has more than twice as many home runs as Austin Slater has hits this season.
That's unbelievable.
And now we're in May, and the running joke I've had for a week or two now for Slater was, I said, at what point in the season will he finally have more hits than ground into double plays? And right now they're deadlocked, and it's May.
Yeah, and they think
Conforto has the most RBIs with 16.
16, and then what's next?
Matt Chapman with 14.
Okay, 2. Those 2.
And then Tyro Estrada with 13.
Okay, so they got 43 between those 3 guys. 2 guys to Schmidt's 1. But if you look where Schmidt's batting in the order, isn't he around 5th?
Yeah, they bumped him to 3rd today. Okay. I mean, they move him a little bit, but he had been down 5th, 6th in the lineup. Right. I mean, the lineup is really solid when you look at it.
Oh, it is. We put some Casey Schmidt highlight reels last night. I was showing some defensive gems, web gems by Casey Schmidt, because I was making the point, and I'll still make the point, is I did not care for the Chapman signing because I think you needed other avenues that would have been better suited, like a first baseman, like a Reese Hoskins, or give me another starting pitcher. You can never have enough starting pitching. But Casey Schmidt, you're blocking your 2nd round pick, who, as you said, and has been said, he was the comparison. His comparison was Matt Chapman. I think Schmidt could come up here and hit as good or better than Chapman. And I think he can play on pretty equal footing with Chapman at third base. A lot of people say, oh, but Chapman, he's a platinum Gold Glove winner. Yes, and he's dynamic. But you know what?
He's a career 240 hitter.
He's a career what? 240 hitter?
240 hitter.
Yeah. But Casey Schmidt, you just watch his game. Yeah. Watch his game. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's got soft hands. He gets rid of the ball quickly. He can snag it at third and afford to take a couple of steps in closer to first and throw a rocket across the diamond straight. He's just guys.
Oh, and you know what? I'm telling you, the organization is absolutely in love with him. Did you listen to the TV broadcast?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Between them talking about coffee and bagels, they went on for about an inning and a half talking about the joy of Matt Chapman.
I know.
I mean, I love watching him pick it at third. Man, don't get me wrong.
Look. Does he have value? Yes, he has value at defense. But I'm just, come on, guys.
You know, I guess what I'm thinking here is it's not like you have your choice of Matt Chapman or David VR, and that's your choice.
Yeah. Good example.
It's like, okay, we need to sign Chapman. And guys, I am not, if anybody wants, hear me out here, because I came down hard on Chapman last night in favor of Casey Schmidt. I am not so much anti Matt Chapman. I don't like his bat, and I think he's not a great hitter at all. But I would have been for the Matt Chapman signing, like enthusiastically, like everybody else, if we didn't have a Casey Schmidt.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Because
6th or 7th in your lineup, you'd feel way better about him.
What's that?
I said if he was hitting 6th or 7th in your lineup, you'd also feel a lot better.
Yeah. He's sitting.
And they signed him acting like he's the middle of an order bat too.
Yeah. He's batting
not
4th. He's batting 3rd or 4th all the time. I mean, I think that's what I wanted to say as I got off the air last night. And I thought, I should have pointed it out. I really am not so much anti-Chapman as much as I'm against the signing, because you're blocking Casey Schmidt. You're blocking a 25-year-old. This kid's not 20.
Yes, we are blaming Farhan, Nick. We are definitely blaming Farhan on this.
He's not 20 years old, where he's 25. His time is now.
His time is now. Exactly.
You're next. He's in, he's like 2-3 years away from his prime.
And here's the thing that doesn't look okay. So he was your 2nd round pick. He was touted as being the next Matt Chapman, right? We're talking about Casey Schmidt. This is one of Farhan's guys. He's going to be a treasure. But here, tell me, basically, you have screwed Casey out of 2+ years of MLB playing time, right? Okay, so you signed Chapman, right? So that's 1 year that Casey's done. All right.
Yep.
Now, what if Matt Chapman sucks? There's 2 years where you're not going to see Casey
next year is going to be Schmidt's last option year.
And then he becomes a free agent, right? After that. Isn't that right?
Yeah, they would have to DFA him, or DFA
him or arbitration, or they'd have to sign him.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just ridiculous how they're playing the short game instead of the long game. And that's what I've been criticizing Farhan this entire time. There just seems to be no forethought in the future, even though he was signed here or hired here to be about the future. And here we are in year 6, and this is what we're talking about. And it's so frustrating to see that, especially a club as the stature of the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah.
We demand better as a fan. I demand better. I mean, and look, I'm not. If people think otherwise, that's fine. That's what you want to think. I'm fine with that. But I'm talking about how I feel as a Giants fan. I just want better. That's all I want.
Agreed. We want something. We want a product and a team that we're excited and like proud of.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Even if they're not winning a World Series, like
exactly. And Dan, you've been on record a million times. It's fine. Yeah. I don't mind them playing the young guys, and if they stink it up, but that's a huge opportunity for the young guys, because I guarantee you the next year, if they're worth anything, they're going to put it together.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I'll say about Schmidt, where I could see a pathway for him, it's just going to end up being at short.
Yep.
And everyone, I know everyone wants Luciano, and I want him to, and I would have loved to have seen him get the job coming out. I know how the team kind of thinks about his defense at short, and I watched Schmidt play short, and it would probably be a small step down from Ahmed, but I think it's actually closer than people think. And when I say that, Ahmed's going to be, obviously, he's a natural shortstop, so the footwork's better, more instinctual, everything at the position. But Schmidt has at least enough range. And the one thing that he has, exactly, his arm is so much better than Ahmed's. Every
time he throws it the first, man.
It's just he's pulled Flores or Wade off the bag how many times?
Yes.
There was a play early in the year where he was the relay, and he threw it offline to home, and I was thinking, oh, it was probably a close play anyway. And then I realized if the throw was even in the same zip code, they would have gotten the guy, because the guy was so far away when the throw came in, but it pulled Bailey like 15 feet off of home plate. And I'm like, this guy's arm is a problem. He's still, obviously, he's leading the NL in outs above average or whatever. And, what all these analytics love him, but I watch it and I go, I'd be willing to bet Schmidt is not that much of a downgrade at short.
Nope.
I don't think he would be. And if he continues to hit like he does and the offense never gets going, then, someone asked earlier who could potentially come up. I do think there's an avenue for Schmidt there, because I think they would trust his glove way more than they would trust Marco's.
True.
So,
yep.
What are you looking up, Dan? You're looking up something.
I am. Just trying to find it here.
Gosh, man, it's so frustrating. I just don't know. I just don't understand some of these moves and the decisions. Yeah. I mean, it's just, and then
the Mason Black one is the one that broke that's the one that flipped me out today or yesterday. It was the easiest. We were debating whether or not move.
Yeah, we were debating who they're going to call up.
Yeah, well, and think about it. I mean, we've talked about if they have playing time. That's the argument, is why do you start his clock if you're only going to bring him up for a 15-day? And it's like, I don't know if you guys have The Athletic and read the Baggerly piece or anything.
I do. I have it. Yeah.
Does it, yeah.
So did you see the article, I think yesterday or a day or two ago, about the Harrison, Wynn, Hicks, and all the innings? And like how they're you can't expect them to throw 100 innings or 180 innings. These guys have never thrown more than 110 or 115.
They haven't thrown less than that.
Yep.
So at some point you're going to have to skip some starts, right? So to kind of hold them to whatever innings that you want to keep them to, because I know Farhan says, I want my best 5 going in September. So, well, if you're not gonna do it now, you're gonna have to do it later. So
there's a lot of things Farhan says.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I looked at Black and I go, okay, well, let him make Snell starts until Snell is back. And then when Snell comes back, Harrison pitches right after Snell. Next time through the rotation, he takes Harrison's start for a week. Next time through the rotation, bump him back, he takes Hicks start for a week. Next time through, he takes Wynn's start for a week. You just gave him 6 starts in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can make him the injury guy or bulk guy, whatever you want to end up doing with him. But you send him back down. I mean, you get 5 call-ups a year. I'm like, there are pathways to getting this guy 10, 15, whatever starts this season, possibly more if guys like Cobb continue to have setbacks. Ray never comes back. There are obviously other things that can impact that. But I looked at it. I'm like, there is easy playing time available to him right now. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that are. But.
And I don't know. Dan has been hammering this. I've been hammering it. Yeah. It's like the talent has to play.
Yeah.
Right. The talent has to play. And it seems like they're so adverse to playing the talent and being risk adverse. Oh, here we go. The Chronicle. How long ago was this written?
Last year, before the season started, March, spring training of last year. So this is an article on Casey Schmidt. I want to point out one paragraph in particular. Let me see, where did it go?
Looks like Snell had a bullpen today through 20 pitches.
Yeah.
They're calling it successful, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah, Cobb had a whole lot of successful bullpens and outings, and then all of a sudden
everything's breaking down on him.
Go ahead and read
$10 million. Okay, which one? The middle one?
Yeah, Schmidt.
Schmidt's arm sets him apart. Think Matt Chapman, Bay Area fans. With exceptional strength from all angles, whether Schmidt is charging to field a bunt, or snagging the ball in the hole between third and short, or backhanding a ball in foul territory, he throws hard from every release point. You want to keep going?
That's good. I mean, my point is that, guys, I've been trying to point out to you guys that this guy is pretty close to the level of a Chapman and he's going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You brought in a guy for a name because you wanted the name, and you thought, oh, we got to have this defense. And you also brought him in because you thought you thought he was a 25 to 30 home run guy. And you thought this is and he plays 150 plus games a year. I get it. And you brought him in for that. But you signed him to 3 separate 1-year deals where Chapman can opt out or he can opt in. And if he opts out, he gets a bonus. He gets a buyout. But if he opts in, which at this point of the year, if he continues at this trend, he will be opting in. There's no way he's going to test the market if he's, at this pace. Okay. So that's why I've been hammering this and I've been ticked off about it, because Casey's natural position is third base. Okay. Luciano might not be the shortstop, but maybe Fitzgerald could be the shortstop.
Yeah.
I don't think Fitzgerald, think about this, guys. When's the last game the Giants won?
What was it? Saturday
Right.
or
It
Saturday?
Was it before the game before the road trip?
Sunday.
The one where I won.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the statistics.
Yeah, they beat the Pirates 3-2 on that. What was it? Sunday.
Yes. Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to pull up the box score here on my handy phone and look at who played shortstop. Tyler Fitzgerald. What did he do? Oh, he went 3 for 3. Oh, he's hitting 313. And his OPS is 916. Oh, and he played pretty flawless defense. But let's put him back on the bench for the next 2 games. And,
the only speed threat on the team.
Because the lefty's not going, Dan.
Exactly.
That's why it's platoon back all over again in center field, right field, and now shortstop. Right now, that's what it looks like right now, right? Platoon.
I am so tired of the
shortstop, first base.
You got to have a balance in baseball. I understand defense. Last year it was offense first. They didn't even think about defense, and they were horrible defensively. Well, this year they're horrible offensively and they're solid defensively. But you got to have a balance. You got to have
there's no balance.
Some guys that can hit. I mean,
you can't score, you can't win.
Yeah,
correct.
They've scored 2 runs and they scored 5 in the last 3, and they won one of them. They're lucky. They've had 5 runs in 3 games.
Yeah.
What did they get? What did they?
They said in the last. Oh, on Saturday. What did they?
Was that the extra inning game where they lost 4?
Well, yeah, they lost 2-1 or 3. Sorry, 4-3. They lost 4-3.
They got a 2-run homer in the 9th, and they only had 1 run going into the 9th or into the 10th, and the day before they only had 1 run going into the 9th, right? Or no runs. It was 0-0, wasn't it, in the 9th inning Friday night?
It was 0-0, and Bailey hit the 3-run walk off.
Yeah,
and the next day it was 1-1.
Let's see, 9 innings Friday night. They scored in 1 inning. Next night they scored in 2 innings. They scored in the 10th and somewhere earlier in the game. So in 19 innings, they scored in 3 innings. You go to Sunday's game. Didn't they? Let me look at Sunday's game. Sunday's game, they scored in 3 runs. They scored all their runs in the 3rd inning and held on to win. They scored
back-to-back homers, and then
someone hit that's 19 plus 9, 28 innings. Then they scored how many innings? 3 or 4 am I up to?
4, I think.
4?
Yeah, I think it was 4 in that entire series.
Last night, add 9 more. So you're 29. You're at 38 innings and no runs. Tonight, they got what was tonight?
Scored in 2 innings.
Did they
scored 1 run in 2 separate innings. Yeah.
So 6 innings they scored in their last 47 innings, and only a couple of crooked numbers.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness!
Just like Jeff Young said, the last 6 games, 13 runs. That ain't getting it done, man. It's not getting it done.
But this is
what we keep talking about.
This isn't something new, guys. I said this from the day one. I said they are going to struggle to score runs. This lineup does not scare me one bit when I look at it. If I'm the opposing pitcher or team or manager or whatever, I don't get up and go, oh my gosh, look who's coming to the plate. I mean, there's not one guy on this team that should scare you to face in a difficult situation.
It's funny. NBC Sports Area just sent out that little notifications when a story comes out. Mason Black time ?
Mason Black time was a week and a half ago.
Unbelievable. Here's a question I'm gonna ask you, Cody. We kind of been debating this. Do you think Farhan's job's on the line this season, or do you think he's safe? Kind of a speculative question.
It should be on the line, but I don't.
Is he really doing anything different than he has the previous 5? Not really, right?
I mean, okay, so my gut says if the season just goes in the tank and like I have to add if the season goes in the tank and they don't bring up any kids and none of it, like, because if the season goes in the tank and let's say he calls up Luciano and Ramos or Matos or Schmidt or whatever, they just bring up a bunch and they all start looking good, I could see it buying him another season because they'll go, oh, well, look, there's all this talent. Next year we'll be fine.
That's
but
what
if
I
the
want.
season goes in the tank and everything's just like there's nothing to be excited about, then I mean, I hope he gets fired. He should get fired at that point because I don't know how you can justify it. Like I don't know how Greg Johnson with a straight face could say, yeah, he deserves to. We gave him an extension and he deserves to keep the job another year. If the season's, if they win 75 games and there's nothing exciting about the team. So,
do you think he should have gone out with Kapler last year?
Yeah. I thought he should. And the way I always try and look at everything, and I regardless of, I try to keep like my personal feelings towards his style or any of that stuff out of it. Like I try and look at every move and everything they do completely objectively with nothing else impacting what I'm going to think about that move. And so I try to give Farhan a fair shot this offseason. And in fairness to him, I actually thought he did a pretty solid job in this offseason. But part of that is the player, and the players are the ones playing, they're not performing. So there is that, but he just keeps doubling down on stupid roster decisions where he refuses to give anyone a look. And, I see the comment down there that, the reality is we don't know what these guys are.
That's what I was just going to say. Hold on. Here we go. Mitchell Ness. He's a dedicated chat member. So
sure.
Yeah, I appreciate his input. I'm going to let you all know a little secret. Schmidt, Matos, Ramos suck. So if you want to replace bad players with bad players, go ahead. Luciano's the only one I'm not sure about yet. I mean,
how do you know? You know what, Mitchell and Ness?
I don't know.
Matos in his rookie season hit
250.
That's pretty respectable with over 250 at bats. He hit 250. That's better than anybody that's in the Giants lineup right now. You got Conforto's up there and Lee
and Wade.
Wade, but outfield. I mean, you got to play these guys and find out. Yeah. You know what? They should have done it last year in the second half.
Agreed.
And just
when Judge backed out, I said embrace the suck was my exact. That's why I laughed earlier when you guys brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Judge backed out, I said, "Cool, embrace the suck, play the kids,
just play them, and then you find out what happens. And you know what? Then you pivot from there, and you say, you got to find out. The Giants in 2010 and 12, 14. What they did with this club is they've made key trades and some free agent acquisitions, but it was supplementing what they built from within, from their own farm system. The infield was entirely homegrown in 14 when you had Panic in there. But most of the years, it's Panda and Crawford, whether it's Panic or Scudero or whatever. That was a trade, but you had Bell. Then you had Posey, of course, and then you had the three-headed monster in the starting pitching. Yeah. Then you had their bullpen. You had Sergio Romo was homegrown. Brian Wilson was homegrown. They made key trades for Affeldt and Javi Lopez.
Casilla, I think, was homegrown, right?
Was Casilla?
Was he homegrown, or did they get him from a trade? Maybe.
I can't remember.
Oh, maybe did he? No, he went to the A's afterwards.
But they made the trade for Pence, and then and some of the other trades. That's fine. You use your farm system to get those trades. It's what the Dodgers do. You look
Farhan doesn't even do that.
Yeah, look at the Orioles. Look at the Astros. Look at the
Reds.
The Reds. I mean, I'm thinking of the top teams.
Even the A's. Look at the A's. Look what the A's are doing.
Yeah. The Braves built their team for the most part from their farm system. Freeman moved on and they replaced him with Olsen. But it's Albies. It was Swanson. It was Riley. Their center fielder. Why am I forgetting his name? The lefty.
Harris second.
Harris. Michael Harris. Yeah. And they make and you go from there. But the Giants, they have like 4 contributors, main contributors, maybe 5 from their farm system. It's Bailey, Webb, Duvall, and Harrison. And you can throw in
Keaton Wynn.
Keaton Wynn, right? That's the 5th one. Yeah. And then you got Walker that does a little bit. Fitzgerald they don't use, but they don't have a nucleus. And you can have a nucleus if you brought up some of these guys. If you brought up Schmidt and Luciano Matos and Ramos and eventually Meckler, and you can kind of see, hey, can any of these guys pull it off for 2 months? Can they, you look at the Reds. They went young last year. They almost made the playoffs. They outperformed the Giants. And now they're a year older, and they're going to be a team to contend with for the next couple of years. The Pirates are on their way up. They're doing the right thing. They're bringing guys,
the Reds are a lot of fun to watch.
They are.
They get pitching. They'd be really good. That's their thing.
They need pitching in the worst way. I mean, I
thought they would have been a great team for the Giants to try and trade with.
Yes,
this last offseason.
Yeah, I would. How about the kid Strand? Put him at first base, and the guy's he's going to be a masher, and you can trade one of your farm guys. I mean, I don't know what their plan is. Reggie Crawford, what I understand, is down in Richmond, and they got him in the bullpen now. They're using him every 5th day in the bullpen. They're just kind of like they're kind of treating him with kid gloves because of his Tommy John history. And so they're, instead of using him as a starter, they're just trying to get him to work every 5th day like a starter, but it's only for an inning or 2. And then they have him work on things in like it's kind of, I don't know. It's an interesting philosophy, but pitchers can fly through the farm system much quicker than hitters.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Reggie Crawford is in their bullpen in July or August.
Could be.
Wouldn't shock me. He's got 3+ pitches. It's just does he throw strikes and
Here's an interesting question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
Oh, I was just saying, like, I feel better about his control than Eric Miller. I'll tell you that. So
I mean, Eric Miller's got some good stuff, but he's kind of all over the place. Yeah,
I like Eric Miller. Nothing against the guy. I think he's got a future as a good reliever. He's got some wildness.
What do you think of the farm system? Nick's comment here.
Did you read Matt's real quick?
I'll get to it. Yeah.
All right. Here, let me star it. There you go.
Yeah.
Farm system is unmitigated disaster. What do you think?
I do think that's a bit harsh. I will say they lack the top end talent, I would say, of a lot of the top systems around the league, you get a bunch of top 100 guys. They don't have 7 guys like the Cubs do that are top 100 prospects.
Right.
They do have some guys that are really good. They have a few guys, Luciano's a top 100, Eldridge and Wisenhunt are top 100 guys. They have a couple more guys right now that I think are going to be top 100 soonish, with like Hayden Birdsong, who's looking excellent in Double-A. I could see Rainer Arias once he actually gets into organized professional ball. He looked amazing in the DSL last season. We'll see if it carries over into the complex league, but I think they're deeper than they've been in a long time. And you look around, like up and down their system, they have a lot of quality pitching in the system. They've got a lot of middle infielders that are pretty quality players, especially in the lower levels with Walker Martin, Diego Velasquez, Quinn McDaniel, who's tearing it up in high A right now.
I've heard of Quinn McDaniel.
Yeah. They have, and Cole Foster's having a huge start in San Jose. They have quality players all over. It's just they lack the top end, and that's where they have toolsy guys that have, like the guys in AAA right now. They have Luciano, Ramos, who they have tools. They have, if they can put the hit tool together, you're going to feel like, oh, this guy could be a star, but it's the $1 million question. And can Casey Schmidt not chase enough at the major league level, which he's doing a better job in AAA this season. He still chases a bit. His walk rate's not great, but I don't care if his walk rate's good. Just lay off enough pitches to make pitchers come into the zone where you're like one of the best hitters, like where his bat to ball contact rates and barrel percentages on pitches in the zone are elite. So I don't need you to be a 10% walk guy. I just need you to lay off enough to make him throw you a strike.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of guys that are quality players in their system. So I don't, like I said, I think an unmitigated disaster is harsh, but it comes back to the whole, what's the point of having this farm system that I do think has improved as a whole since Farhan's been there. At least it's deeper. I don't know if necessarily they have, the top end guys that they used to always produce with Sabian, where they would, they'd only have Timmy, they'd have 1 or 2 guys at the top and then they'd hit on both of them. It felt like a lot of times, but it lacks, like I said, it lacks the top end. And what's the point of having all this if you're not going to play them, if you're never going to find out what you have, or if you're not going to trade them for good established players,
And it wasn't that what Farhan came to do, was to revamp the farm and produce out of the farm, quote unquote, the Dodger way. But we haven't seen that. There hasn't been who is it that's on the roster right now that is been drafted? Harrison and Bailey, right?
Yeah, Harrison and Bailey
and Fitzgerald.
But he's not playing every day either.
But he's on the 26. But they don't play him. But I think you're going to start seeing. I think that may be the first move to fall, is that they look to find ways to get. If this road trip continues to spiral downhill, I think you find ways to start playing Fitzgerald. What I suggested is Fitzgerald doesn't have to take anybody's job. Just make him the Chris Taylor. Let him play shortstop 1 game, 2 games a week. Let him give Chapman a day off. Let him give Lee a day off. Let him give Yaz a day off. Let him give Conforto a day off. Let him give Estrada a day off. Whatever, who needs a day off, put Fitzgerald in there and play the kid 5 days a week. See what he does.
Who signed Chris Taylor to the Dodgers?
It wasn't Farhan. It
wasn't.
He was there, but he didn't do anything.
But he was there. But he was
Friedman
in the organization.
Friedman ran the show. Farhan was just he's just a mouthpiece there. Not even a mouthpiece, but a figurehead. That's the word I want to use. He was a figurehead. They wanted. Look, the story goes like this. He was with the A's. Okay. The A's were. They didn't care when he left. They were like, thrilled the Dodgers took him. The Dodgers basically, I'll just say this. Friedman had somebody else in mind. The Dodgers wanted him to go with Farhan. Okay. So they wanted to bring in Farhan. They got him Farhan, but you know what? The Dodgers were not at all clamoring to keep Farhan. They weren't like, oh, you didn't see anything like, oh my gosh, Farhan's leaving. We want compensation. It was like, yeah, go. It's like, you know what? Farhan is a good baseball mind for what he does well, and that is analytics. He can run a back office and he can help a ball club by getting the analytics department and feed that information to the field manager and let them do with what they want. But he's not a head guy. He is not the guy to be calling the shots and who's coming up and who's getting sent down and who's moving here and what. He's just not. He's a numbers crunching guy that has his place. I think if he was behind the back scene, I think he would be like an asset to a club, and he could be an asset to the Giants. But as president of baseball ops running the whole show, he's too passive. He waited and 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 waited for the market to drop. And everybody's saying, like, yeah, look at Farhan. He won. He got Snell and he got Chapman. And now you may be stuck with both of these guys for the next year. And you're blocking your young pitching and your guys that can come up and play. And the other thing he did is he knew Lee had to sign by a certain date. Lee, the only reason Lee got signed early is he had to be signed early. He was going to go back to Korea.
Yeah.
So he jumped on it and he overpaid. And it's fine. He overpaid. You know what? Yeah. Sometimes you overpay. But I don't get on him.
Commend him for taking a risk.
Yeah, I don't get on him for taking the risk because he took a risk finally. Okay. He actually took the risk and went out and got Lee. And I'm okay with that. Whether he overpaid for him for $5 or $6 million a year, I don't care. It's not my money.
That's free agency.
Yeah, that's free agency. Yeah. I don't really care. I mean, you can argue and say he should be only worth 12, 13 million. He's getting 19. I don't really care. You know what? He may be a bargain someday. He just might be. I think the kid, once he figures it out, I said this, I may have been a little bit hyperbole, but I do think the guy has batting champion potential in him. Because once he figures this thing out, he's going to start slapping the ball like Arias instead of trying to hit it so hard all the time. He's just going to go where the ball's pitched, like he did a week and a half ago at home. He hit the ball down the right field line, just missed the first base, going over the first base bag for a double down the right field line. Same at bat. He goes with the pitch and hits it down the left field line for a double. Okay. That's pretty skillful hitting. Once he starts doing more of that, he's a guy that will hit you 300, I believe, or higher. There's a reason he was the best player in Korea. He'll probably go down to this point. He's probably the best player Korea's ever had. Just like Ichiro was the best player in Japan. He was kind of an anomaly, would you say? Ichiro for a hitter?
Yeah, correct.
For Japan. I don't think Jung Hoo Lee is going to ever hit like Ichiro. Okay, I'm not comparing the two. I'm comparing that they were the outlier of their leagues. And so you can't say because Jung Hoo Lee was from Korea that he's not going to be any good because none of the Korea hitters ever really hit for average or do that well. He was an outlier, and I think he's going to be the best hitter to this point in Major League Baseball that Korea's ever seen. Now, someone may come along years later, but we had Ichiro, and now you have Ohtani. Okay. And that's pretty much your top two hitters that are Hall of Famers from Japan. I'm not saying that Ichiro will be a Hall of Fame. I mean, Jung Hoo Lee will be a Hall of Famer, but I do believe someday he'll be an all-star. I think he'll make an all-star team.
Yeah. Listen to Will Clark talk about Jung Hoo Lee. I mean, he talked when he went to, what's that?
What's he say? I haven't actually heard what he said.
Oh, yeah. So he went on, he talked about when he went down to Arizona, because, he does this kind of roving instruction and comes when he wants to come, and
right. Makes his own schedule.
Yeah, exactly. Bonds does the same thing where they just show up when they want to. And he talked about when he got his first look at Jung Hoo Lee, and he's like, everything he does has a purpose, and his ability to get the barrel on the ball consistently.
Yeah.
He's like, he was super impressed with that. And he said, he's like, he has more pop than I thought he would, but he hits just a ton of line drives. And, I think I agree with both of you. It just, once he figures out major league pitching, and I always felt like it was a move more for 2025 than it was even for 2024. I think the defense and some of the base running and things like that will translate this season and help. I mean, you can already tell he has a better first step in center field than anybody that played center for them last season.
Absolutely.
And more range and everything. But I think the offense and everything, look at Ha-Seong Kim, who came over, and his first year, it was a big adjustment. He was good defensively. He was fast, but the bat, it took till year 2 and 3 for the bat to really take a jump. And
correct.
I think that's the reasonable expectation for Lee is, maybe he hits 260 or 270 this season, but next year he might take a massive jump from that. So,
I think he's going to, this year, I think he does hit around 270-ish, 270, maybe even between 270 to 280. But I think as he gets going, I think he will be a 290 plus hitter going forward. I really do. I mean, the kid, he doesn't, like you said, Will Clark, he gets the barrel on the ball. He squares it up. And once he figures out this, because he's an athlete, you can see it. He's athletic, and athletes figure it out. If they're committed to their craft, they will figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not worried about Jung Hoo Lee. But what you need to do is you need to get some pop on the corners, because he's not going to give you much pop at all. He's going to give you maybe 10 homers. He does 10 homers, but you need guys that can hit 20 plus on the corners. You should have 5 guys hitting 20 plus homers every year on the Giants, playing right field, left field, first base, third base, and DH. All 5 of those guys need to hit 20 plus. Yeah. Preferably, those are positions that generate 25.
Yeah.
For most teams. Just go look. I mean, the Giants need to find those guys. They have it in Soler. He'll hit, I think I personally said, I think he hits 23 to 25 this year. I don't think he reaches the 30. Maybe he does when he gets on that roll. Like you said, he can hit 10 in a month. But something about this lineup, there's no protection. And he's pressing. You could see he's frustrated tonight. He just snapped that bat. Man.
Yeah. Showed some emotion.
Yeah. It's good to see. I like seeing that.
Yeah. Shows that he's invested. He's not checked out or nothing like that. I mean, I don't think he would be, but I'm just saying,
I mean, how fast did we see how fast was that 110 plus?
110.
I think
it looked like it. I mean, did you see that was Devers at third, right?
Devers.
Yeah. Oh, Devers was cracking up.
He was he goes, look. Where'd my glove? Where'd my glove go?
Yeah, he was shocked that the ball was in his mitt.
Yeah.
He's like, I think I just threw my mitt out there. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it has to be right at you. And
he's going. He's going. he couldn't believe that.
On Dan. E on Dan.
No, it was an exchange.
E!
No, it was the exchange. I was running in.
No, look at that. It's not staying in there. Grab that thing, man. Grab it.
I had to show it because it's such a deep glove. You can't see. This is an outfielder's glove, man.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
So I had to show it because see you can't.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. Good point.
So I was trying to show how he was looking at there. It goes.
All right, hey Ray. Before we I don't know what time we're going to shut it down, but let's throw this out here real quick. Hey guys, we got Cody on the show. There's a show right there, Even Year Dynasty Show. Make sure you guys go give him a like, and well, not a like, but give him a subscribe. Puts out some good content talking about the Giants. So go check them out, man. Go check them out. Good stuff.
Yeah. If you ever want to know about how the kids on the farm are doing, I put one out every Tuesday. So
there you go. Every Tuesday, Cody will give you the breakdown of what's going on in the Giants minor leagues. Fantastic.
Well, what we need to do is, do you do a weekly show or daily?
So I do. I try and post like 3 or 4 a week. It's usually my goal.
So you're not doing any live streams and
just pre-recorded stuff.
Not yet. Yeah, it's something that I may do. As the sub count gets high enough to where it's worth it, I think. Because
all right, how about if we do this? If we're able to, if we could, if you allow us to, if you're able to make it every Wednesday, that would be great. We can have you on standing Wednesdays.
Nice.
If not, you can't make it those Wednesdays. Do we have permission to play your Tuesday special on our show and promote it?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. If you want to cut up any of the video or take any of it, I usually will post some highlights in there with them, like add some of the stuff. If you guys are on my Twitter, you'll see lots of Ramos and Luciano.
Just bring up his Twitter, Dan. We'll just bring up his Twitter. Play from there. Because you want to pull stuff away from his channel.
Yeah, I just want to be able to show his stuff. Yeah. So, but what we'd love to have you do is every Wednesday come in and actually just
break it down,
break the whole show down. Your what you broke down, and just give you that time, and then let the chat ask you questions. Because someone who's taken the time out to watch the minors. I mean, you're watching. Is it the entire minors or just the AAA?
I try and tune into some of the others. I will say this: the quality of the videos on like single A, high A. Eugene was playing up here in Everett a few weeks or to open the season, and the only camera view they had was like behind home plate looking down, and I'm like, you can't really get much of anything out of that. But I do try and I'll go back and rewatch some of them. A lot of AA games I check out because they're Eastern League, so I can kind of watch.
That team isn't doing very much, is it? Oof.
Now, Cody,
their offense is painful.
We talked about this a little bit pre start of the show here, but in the green room, tell everybody how you feel about that now.
Yeah. You've shown your face on NorCal. Now you're done.
Hey, you know what? When I created this show, all I can say is I wasn't after any media credentials. So I'm gonna call it how I see it.
There we go.
It's a lot. I am inherently more optimistic than I am pessimistic. But I look at watching this team. They'll boil my blood every now and then, and I'm just gonna call it how it is. I mean,
fair enough. That's all we.
There you go. I want to be more optimistic. I really do. If you saw me in 22, I was a much more optimistic team.
Sure.
Giants. I mean, I was a season ticket holder, 21, 22, 20. I had the season tickets, and, I was a little bit more defending the Giants on every level, defending even Farhan. I just snapped when I started to really look at things more objectively, I guess, instead of as and I'm a fan, but I'm a passionate fan who wants more. I don't want. Some people say, "Well, you want him to fail." Well, I only want him to fail is if they're not going to be successfully good. I don't want 500. I don't want middle of the road teams that Farhan has built, because then nothing changes. So I'm about change. And if Farhan's move work, then I'm all for it. If they work. But I don't think they're going to work, because I think the game changed with a lot of the pitch clock and the stolen base, and Farhan brought in guys that score you runs on the long ball, and that's about it. There's no moving guys along, and just putting together strings of innings where you see we watched the Red Sox put together last night, run in the first, run in the second, run in the third.
Yeah.
They're just constantly putting pressure. The Giants don't do that. They might have an inning where they score a run or two, but generally the Giants score with the long ball. That's generally how they get their 2-3 runs. And that's just how they've been built the last few years. Even in 21, they were very successful, but it was the long ball that they led the league in home runs for some reason. I don't know how they pulled it off, but it just was a magical year. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, with the Giants, when people say, well, you want them, I don't want them to fail. I want them to, of
course not.
I want them to win 90 plus and win a World Series. And I want to get behind the guys. But if they're going to do it Farhan's way, that's not working. This isn't like, okay, it's not working this year. It hasn't worked, but for once in 6 years. This is year 6, guys. And this constant jacking around the last 4 or 5 roster spots on the 40-man roster, just moving guys, like it's fantasy baseball, and you're trying to just flip a guy a day, and you're focusing on the back end of the 40 instead of, the front end of it, and making it a very competitive. And it's this constant move this guy, bring this guy up for this weekend. And these guys are shuffling back and forth between Sacramento and, playing ball as I did. You don't want that as a player. You don't want to, you want to know where you stand. You don't want to like, oh, great. I'm getting called up. See you guys next Monday. I'm going for a weekend to Candlestick. I'll be back Monday. That's probably the joke up in Sacramento when they get the call up. Not like, hey, buddy, well, good seeing you, man. Hope have a great career. No, it's like, I'll be back in a couple days. Don't worry. They know that. They know that. And so, DJ, I'm not saying I played professional. I played ball, and playing ball, if you're a ball player, you don't want to get jacked around. You want to know you just want to know where you stand. That's all. You want your coach to be honest with you and let you know where you stand.
And it's funny. Senior talks about, do you know that Casey Schmidt had to get contacts? And it's pretty amazing. After he got contacts, now he's starting to hit the ball a little bit better. Yes. And we have it on pretty good authority. Yeah, it's actually someone close. It's someone close to Casey that knows this information. So it's pretty cool. I mean, if you can't see the ball clearly, it's kind of hard to hit.
It is pretty amazing when you start seeing the ball, what you could do.
Yeah. My comment about Schmidt. Yeah, my comment about Schmidt watching last week, especially, his swing right now looks so incredibly balanced. And he hit one of my tweets I sent out. I actually put it. It's in my video too from this last update. He took 2 swings in a game where he hit a triple and a double, and he actually ended up hitting another double later, but I didn't have that one in the highlights. But both swings, it looked like he was hitting a ball off a tee in warmups. Like he was just so balanced through both swings. Didn't look like there was any kind of wasted movement or anything. It looked like he was just.
It looked like he saw the ball better.
Yeah, it looked like he's seeing it like a beach ball right now.
Exactly. Isn't it amazing?
I'll just say this in closing on the Farhan deal. When it comes to the Giants, maybe you should put a poll out there, Eric.
Oh, here we go.
Would you rather the Giants finish 500?
We've done this one before.
Would you rather the Giants finish 500 and just play the roster the way it is, or see them lose 90 plus and have a regime change and go with the young guys? Because that's me. Okay. I don't want to see an 81 win team, an 82 and 80, a 79 and 83, 83 and 79. I don't want to see that. I want to see them, if they don't make the playoffs, they better win 85, 86 games and just get nosed out. Okay. At least I see some progress. But this team, with the pitching they have, and they're a batter, 2 bats away, in my opinion, at least 2, they can win 88 to 90 games if they make the move soon. If they wait,
here we go real quick. The selections are: what do you want from this team? Play 500 with the current team, or lose 90 games with the young guys?
No, not with the young guys. No,
lose 90 with the young guys.
With these guys. Oof. And then you see Farhan's plan fail.
Don't put that evil on me.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, because I think this team has playoff potential in them. They have the pitching to. This team gets in the playoffs. Look out! I'll just tell you that. Yeah. This team,
100%.
This team has the ability to win it all if they get in the playoffs. Because if Snell finds his stuff and Webb is Webb, and Hicks somehow pitches great, and all of a sudden Ray finds himself, or you got so much pitching that in a short 5-game series, I don't care who you're playing, the Dodgers, the Braves, you could take them out.
They'd be a team no one wants to face.
Right. But you can't jack around and be pitching Dalton Jeffries.
They're punting games in April and May.
And these games will count. These games will count. Mark my words. So,
hey, Cody, you get to experience your first Giovanni.
Oh, Giovanni!
It's actually a good one. I give more credit to Bruce Bochy for World Series titles than Sabian. Well, I don't know about that. Bochy made all the necessary changes and adjustments, but Sabian also got the players that Bochy needed. So
that's why, like right now, like I don't
think it was symbiotic together.
There's so much blame to go around right now. Like, do I think Bob Melvin's necessarily doing a fantastic job? No, he's making a lot of decisions and moves that make me scratch my head. But you can only get what you're handed from Farhan. And yes, the players are the ones making the plays, but you can only do what you can with the roster you're giving. And it's like they're asking him to polish a turd right now. And
hey, there you go. Yeah.
Or the other saying is lipstick on a pig. Like it's just, what's Melvin supposed to do with this roster? It's
right.
So like there are things I'd love to see. Dan brought it up with playing Fitz more often, and like you said, there's no dynamic players in this roster really. I mean, the one that the stat that I always come back to with all the odd stats with the Giants, where it's like, no one's hit 30 homers since Bonds, or the revolving door of left fielders, all the weirdness that goes on. The one that stands out to me is they haven't had a 30 stolen base guy since Dave Roberts in 2007.
Wow.
How does that happen?
Estrada had what, 23 last year or something like that, right?
Yeah, he might have if he stayed healthy. Like I thought someone would do it this year, because I thought Fitz would play more than he has as a utility guy.
Right.
And he still might if they bump up his playing time. He does have 4 or 5 stolen bases now, but like, how do you do that? Athletes today are more athletic than they've been at any other point in the history of sports. And somehow the Giants have managed to stay stuck in like the Bronze Age for athleticism forever.
It's bizarre.
I don't understand it.
It is totally bizarre. Excellent point. Don't get it at all. Hey guys, hurry up and vote if you're going to vote. I think we got about 31 votes right now. We're going to close this thing in just a few minutes because we're going to close the show before 10. So
real quick, let me get this out there before I saw this earlier. Kyle McKiernan, loyal chat member, says 15 and a half months alone building my bathroom. Floor is officially in. I could cry. NorCal Sports Network and the old screw chat crew.
Crew chat?
I think he meant crew. I think he meant the old crew chat crew. Thanks for making me get through these numbers.
Oh, screw chat crew. Yeah, okay. All right. Awesome, Kyle. Way to go, man.
Glad to help out there, Kyle.
Have to take some pictures and we'll bring you in some night and have you
give us the tour.
Yeah. Los makes a good comment. Baseball has better athletes now, but had better baseball players in the past. Yeah. A lot of great ball players of the past, man. Guys that just consistently hit pretty much within.
Like Ty Cobb?
Yeah. Game is just the game is played entirely differently now. I mean, I've gone on so many I've gone on so many rants about like 2-strike approaches and things like that, where today's players are. It's so frustrating how some of the ways the game's played today. But
oh man,
yeah.
I gotta give him I'm always laughing, Cody, because I always bring up the old school guys and Dan and Los.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, no, this has been a great show, Cody. You've brought a lot of good insight and a lot of knowledge to the channel. Appreciate what you're saying. A lot of what you're saying, I feel like we're on the same island, and it's an island. It's really kind of like Gilligan's Island for the outcast Giants fans, because
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the land of misfit toys.
Yeah, and I'll say this, at least I know this is how I feel. Like, as hard as we are on Farhan, and as much as all three of us pretty much agree that like he should have probably been gone with Kapler, the way it's trending, he's trending in a direction that he should be gone after this season. But like, I would love nothing more than this team to actually do really well, him to actually play some of these young players, those players to develop and establish themselves. And I would love nothing more than to go into next offseason, having watched the 85 to 90 win playoff team, and be able to not sit there and complain about Farhan Zaidi all offseason.
Right.
I would love nothing more than that.
It would be, it would be nice. I'll tell you, I'm in a, what's the word? Stuck in the middle or something. I'm
purgatory.
I'm in purgatory on Matt Chapman. Here's why. You make your opinions, and you make your educated opinion on something.
Yeah.
You, for your own credibility's sake, you kind of want to be halfway right. You don't want to be like
out in left field,
out in left field. And so I kind of like saying with Chapman, it's kind of like, see, I told you so. But on the other hand, I don't want him back next year. So he's got to have a good year. He's got to have a good season enough to opt out of this contract, because if he comes back, if he embraces the suck, so to say, and the Giants suck, and Chapman is back next year, you got a bigger problem now.
Yeah.
Because now you got Chapman back. What are you going to do with Casey Schmidt? You're going to trade Casey Schmidt?
Trade him, play him at short. I mean, it'd be tough. I think best case right now would be Schmidt ends up at shortstop this season. And if he does really well, and I think the best case for the Giants right now would be Schmidt comes up and plays short. Chapman tears it up and opts out, and then they just move him over next season, because then at least maybe they can say,
what? I'll tell you, if Schmidt comes up and starts tearing things up, or a Ramos or Matos, it actually helps the rest of the club get going. It did last year. It actually put a spark in them. They need a spark. let me just say this to Giovanni. You never cease to amaze me, Giovanni. Do I need to? You know what? Cody hasn't heard this yet. Giovanni has a special intro to his chats. And
there goes 10 o'clock out the window. 10 o'clock is out the window. Like
all right. Giovanni's our resident clown, but we like him. So, Giovanni, I said I was okay with it at the end when they actually signed him because it was a foregone conclusion they were going to sign him. And I was happy they didn't sign him to a multi-year, 4 or 5 year deal, what he was originally going for.
Yeah.
And I thought when they signed him, I thought, well, he's going to opt out. He wants to make the big money. But now he's doing what I said he would do prior to them signing. I said, if you listen, roll the tape, I said, I don't want Matt Chapman. He can't hit. Okay. I know he can field. He's great. He's one of the all-time greats. I'm not going to dog him for that. He's an unbelievable third baseman, and he's going to win you some games with his glove. But they need some hitting. And I'm afraid that Matt Chapman, if I were to guess his stats for the year, I'm going to say he hits 229 to 231, 232, hits 21 homers, drives in 68 runs, and strikes out 160 plus times.
Yeah.
And I think that's, and some people might say, well, hey, we'll live with the 21 homers. Well, you're also going to live with a lot of runners left on base.
Yeah.
So that's my
whole there right now. They can't get anyone home.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
hey, Matt, you need to answer Matt's question here real quick. He had a good question. Says, league-wide numbers for every team is down offensively, and it's not just because it's April. Last April was better, and slugging was way better. April was the worst month offensive in 2023.
Was the worst off. Guys will start hitting. It's cold. It's hard to hit a ball. And you saw it in Boston the last 2 nights. Balls were smoked and didn't even get out.
Boston doesn't have a seam issue scoring runs.
Well,
weird when you can run and hit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. But pull up the poll. Give us our final poll before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's take a gander at this. I'll shut it down right now. We got 49 volts. I got 49 volts. 49 votes. And the final tally is lose 90 games with the young guys, 87%. Play 500 with the current team is 12%.
Wow. People would rather see the young guys. See, that's the thing. I'm misunderstanding. Matthew says this April is much worse than last
April. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Thanks, Matt. All right, guys.
I actually got a question for you guys. One last one before you guys go. If the one thing I always hear, because it's always like, Farhan won't give guys that weren't his guys a shot. Matos, Ramos, whoever, Luciano, Bart before. Yeah. He doesn't want, it's always like, it's not his guys. I kind of wonder where you guys fall on, because like when Webb came up, everyone's like, well, he doesn't count as a guy he developed. And I look at guys like Luciano and Matos and that have been in Ramos, who have been in the system almost entirely under the Farhan regime. Maybe they had like a year or two where, and like Luciano and Matos, they were in like the Dominican complex and summer league. They hadn't even done professional ball before Farhan came in. And I'm like, it's such a backwards way for him to think, because I think he absolutely should deserve credit for the development if he actually gives them a chance and they play, even if he's not the one that got them.
Yeah, because it's his guys that are developing these guys.
Yeah, they gave Matos instructions to control the zone better. They gave him instructions to bulk up, and that's where it's like it's such a weird thought process for me, where it's like he refuses to give these guys shots, and it's like I know I would give him a ton of credit if these guys show up and are studs. Like, and I think there's a lot of fans that think the same way. I don't know where you guys kind of fall.
Yeah, I'm fine with that
yeah.
because these guys weren't very old. They were like he took over. I think they were like what 18?
Young, very young.
Oh, 17, 18. So
he's not adverse. I mean, he's playing Webb. He signed Webb to a 5-year extension. Keaton Wynn, he's throwing Keaton Wynn out there. He's a previous regime.
Ryan Walker's previous. Austin Slater. He loves Slater.
Camilo Duvall.
Camilo
Duvall was from the previous regime, right?
Yeah. So anyway, hey, Cody, thanks for joining us. Come back anytime, but especially on Wednesday nights. We'd love to get your midweek report on the farm system.
Definitely.
Awesome. And we usually go, when they're on the road, we're going earlier like tonight, but unfortunately when they're home, we're starting about right now.
I'll work it out. I'll work it out with the boss, and
I hear you.
How that goes.
Yep.
I think we're actually I think we start about that's awesome. 8.5 months. I love it. Yeah. So I'd probably say we're closer to 9:30 during midweek home games because they start at 6:45.
Speaking of tomorrow, what time are we going to go on tomorrow? We're just going to wait till the nighttime?
We're going to wait till the nighttime.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll definitely reach out to you guys.
Yes.
There are times where, I'll if I can, I'll try and, I definitely am happy to come jump in here.
Yeah. Hey, Nick, we did promote his channel earlier.
I put it up there on the banner. Oh,
it's go ahead. What is it again? Even Year Dynasty Show, YouTube. Even Year Dynasty, also on Twitter. And you'll see Cody back here again. He'll be joining us on a semi-regular basis as much as his schedule will allow. With you got a young child at home. It's not easy. Wait till the second one comes. You'll be done.
Done.
See y'all in a couple of years. Yeah.
So make sure you guys go give that guy a subscribe, man.
Yeah. Get over there and subscribe to him. Support him. Appreciate it. All right, guys, hang out in the green room with us as we close here, Cody, and we'll finish up in the green room. But hey, guys, we'll be back tomorrow night. Giants take it on the chin again tonight. Losing to Boston by the final score of was it 6-2? Yeah, 6-2.
6-2.
Tomorrow, Kyle Harrison goes to the mound to try and stop this little short skid and get the Giants on a positive note heading off to Philadelphia.
Going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, though. It's a quick turnaround. It's a game tomorrow that starts, I believe, in Boston at 1:35, so it's 10:35. No, 10:35 here. So,
what do you think, Cody? Do you think they win it tomorrow, or do you think they get swept?
Who's going for Boston tomorrow?
Oh, who is it?
Winkowski. He's got a 3.5 ERA, 1-1 record. Giants haven't seen him before.
Well,
he's gonna look like Cy Young tomorrow.
Yeah, guys. When the Giants don't see a pitcher,
is he bad. Left-handed?
He is right-handed.
Oh, the Giants got a chance then. We don't have Slater leading off and.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's right.
Harrison's here. He gives up the long ball, and then Fenway. That's the problem.
What do you say? I think Fitzgerald's in the lineup tomorrow. Where do you think he plays?
It's not going to be for Yaz. Yaz is going to finish it out in Boston.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Is it
maybe shortstop?
They'll play Conforto. Yeah, maybe Ahmed gets a day. Ahmed's been
shortstop or second, maybe.
Yeah.
No, Strider just had a day off.
With some stuff.
Oh, Strider just had a day off. How about Chapman giving him a day off?
Yeah. They should figure out somewhere for him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be short. A lot of people are saying short. I think it's
going
to
be short. All right, guys. We're out of here. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for joining. Have a great night.